job done on Tuesday night, and your attention focuses on a different cup competition in the FA Cup this Saturday.
Yeah, very much so. It's you know, it was an important week for us. We outlined that, of course, last week when we came out of Grimsby. You know, 2 big cup ties, Arsenal here. I think that's possibly one of the better under-21s, under-23s, call it what they are, that I've seen. As in, they don't just play possession-based football for no purpose. They've got a real effect about it, Arsenal. But we dealt with that, and we're very much looking forward to the main cup competition for everyone in this country, and so it should be, and that's the FA Cup.
You made 6 changes from Saturday, most notably a start for David Amu and Kane Smith returning from injury. It's getting to that stage of the season where you really do need to use every player that you've got in your squad.
Yeah, I think arguably, I think people would know when we were at the best at the part of the season, we could win 3-0 and we make 6 changes on the Tuesday night, and vice versa. And we're coming to a period where, particularly when we get through this period, we stayed in the Papa John's, that increases the fixtures. If we stayed in the FA Cup, it increases the fixtures. And then over Christmas, so we'll certainly utilise the squad. We have to, and we've seen only on Tuesday evening that how light we are if we have 3 or 4 go down, and 3 or 4 go down we have virus, and we've got issues in terms of numbers, not in terms of quality. But hopefully we're a lot better when we go to Kings Lynn.
And on to Saturday, we know the FA Cup's a competition you take great pride in yourself, and it's on BBC One as an early kick-off. It's a great opportunity for the players and the team as a whole to showcase what they're all about.
Yeah, listen, we, as an experienced manager, not only in the FA Cup but just in general, I think you realise the television cameras go to cup competitions for either the huge clubs, the Manchester United, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, they'll always feature, or cup shocks. And it's no secret that Kings Lynn went and got an absolutely fantastic result after producing, it has to be said, a brilliant performance at Doncaster. So as soon as the draw was made, the chairman and me were speaking prior to the draw, and immediately afterwards I said the television cameras are coming to Kings Lynn. And the reason they're going to Kings Lynn is because they'll see there's a possibility of a cup upset. So we need to guard against that, and we need to make sure we're in the draw when it takes place at the weekend.
Have you watched that Doncaster game back? Do you have to prepare for it differently than being?
Yeah, listen, I've watched Kings Lynn in the FA Cup. You're right to say the whole rerun of the Doncaster game. Statistics tell you they were fantastic. 52% possession. I think it was 14, 15 efforts on goal, 6 on target. Should have won a lot more. Dominated. But I've also watched them in league action, where they're very impressive. So they've got good players. Obviously, the chairman is supporting Tommy Widdrington there with good monies in non-league level. They're not a Conference North club by any stretch. We'll see that when we go there on Saturday. The pitch could be better. We could spend a few more quid on that, but outside that, brilliant support. Absolutely, always have had brilliant support. Good manager and some really good players that arguably are Football League players, but people drift for different reasons.
Yeah, you just mentioned the support. It's going to be a massive occasion for them. I think they've sold over 3,000 tickets already. Plus, there's going to be a really good Stevenage backing as well, who want to see this team go as far as they can in the competition.
Well, it's got the FA Cup written all over it, isn't it? You know, a club going really well in their own league and non-league, with really good players, playing against a team that's going well in their league, which is us. So from our point of view, no one has to tell me. I've been in where Tommy Witherington will be on Saturday on many occasions, and I know what it feels like to lead your troops into battle, and I know what it feels like to win those games as well as lose those games. So what I do know is that we'll need to go to Kings Lynn and play very well. If we don't play very well, we go out the cup, and that's because the gap is not that significant. It would be like us playing a top team from League One if we were playing them at the Lamex. The gap isn't like it would have been last year or the year before or the previous 5 years, where it would have been the gap would have been there. The gap is now marginal. So I see Kings Lynn as a team that would be in the top 8 in the National League now, with the players that Tommy's kept. I think if he'd have come in earlier to the club, they would have stayed in the National League. And they would be up there competing with the Notts Counties and the Wrexhams and the Chesterfields. And if we'd be going to one of them tomorrow, they'd probably be favourites to beat us. So that's how competitive Saturday will be.
It's a team Stevenage have never played before. I'm sure that plenty of the players have never been there. Plenty of our supporters, it'll be a new one to tick off the list. But a certain Paul Rayner knows the club very well.
I think he's one of the legends. I think he's Paul's fondly remembered there, of course. He was fantastic for Kings Lynn and what was a very good side. and a lot of supporters will, I've got no doubt, will give Paul a warm reception. So and so he should. It's an old ground for our supporters. It's not been our players. They'll know about it today because we'll show them what it's going to be like. But it's an old ground. It's a traditional non-league ground with a big main stand and the three sides with a covered terrace in the far side. But you know what? It's a fantastic place to go and play football. Hence why you see a number of teams like Norwich, like Peterborough United, who go there pre-season. It's a footballing town, so they'll back the team, and our supporters that travel, we want them to back us and make it a real good atmosphere for the players, I'm sure.
That's great, thank you.
Just talk to us about your relationship with Kings Lynn. I imagine you had a few feisty encounters when you were manager at Boston.
Well, not really. I think I was in charge of several really good teams at Boston. So Kings Lynn were never really what we would say our main competitor, if you like. It would have been teams like, you know, Russian Diamonds, who are no longer around, and Chester and teams like that. So Tamworth, who have now slipped down the pyramid. So teams like that, rather than say Kings Lynn. I think they were in one season we had them in the same league as us. Gary Mills was the manager who did a really good job, I think, you know. So I think actually in direct games, I think we've only had 3 or 4 times against each other. But you know, it's a club I've known well. It's a club that at one point there was some people I know very well who live in Kings Lynn who were going to buy the club from the previous owner. He's sadly passed away now, John Dollamore. That never happened, and then when that takeover fell through, then John Dollamore met me and tried to get me to go as a manager, but I wasn't going to go with the guys that were going to go in and take over. So, but good club. I know what to expect on Saturday.
A victory on Saturday is going to give you the 3rd round. I mean, people think, oh, it's only 2 wins and you're in the 3rd round, but it doesn't happen that often, and it's a massive character of the club, isn't it?
Yeah, I think myself and Paul have been very fortunate. We've gone to the 4th round and the 5th round on a couple of occasions were very special. And you have to look after yourself when you come against opposition that's at a level with you or below you. You have to look after those days, and then you have to get the run of the ball and the breaks when you come against the higher placed teams, or that bit where they're not really respecting you the way they should. So, but we've had some magical days, and you only create magical days by dealing with days like Saturday. If you looked at the celebration of the Kings Lynn players at Doncaster, that's a magical day for Tommy and the Kings Lynn lads and the supporters. So we've got to make sure that we look after Saturday and give ourselves a chance of having one of them for us, because if we go there, I'll have to work hard to win there, but if we go there and go through, it'll be job done and let's get back on the coach.
I speak to a lot of non-league managers when they're in FA Cup action, and they always mention the prize money. I guess even to a club like Stevenage, the prize money that you get for winning in the 1st round, the 2nd round, and potentially further is just as important.
So I had a real interesting conversation. I won't name the manager, but I had a really interesting conversation with a manager in recent times when we just won our 3 games in the Papa John's. And I spoke then about the difference that could make to our chairman getting 5 figures for every time we win a game in the group stages. And he said, well, I don't really think like that. Well, I do, because I think that every penny we give our football club gives our chairman a chance to invest it in either infrastructure, invest it in players in January, invest it in the other staff that we have behind the scenes. So I know how tough it is, from speaking to all the chairman of Watford, how tough it is to raise money to make a football club pay. So the prize money is very helpful.
And just finishing on the player in the squad, you said it had been hit short, which you kind of help when you've got a sickness.
Yeah.
Have you looked ahead to January since it's all
away? Oh yeah, we're. I think it's well. Our chairman is around next week, and me and him already got a couple of dates in the diary, and it's not dates about having a glass of red or a bite to eat. It's days he's already aware of positional players I'm looking at, and him and Leon are doing some work on that now. So that's a good thing. If we fail to plan, then we plan to fail. And it's an old saying, but it's a true saying, because we have an opportunity in January to strengthen our group. I think we need to help the group. It's not about moving people out. We don't have to move anyone out. But when we've lost Elliot in the first day of the season, we've had 20 players. And I can remember only last week having the conversation with Paul Horst when he had 33, 34 senior pros. I inherited that here. And we said let's use the same money and put it in the reduced number squad. But our chairman will always do what he's told me to do. He'll stand up in January and support us. But there's limitations as to how he'll support us. The last thing we're going to do is go and upset that dressing room. We bring in a big time Charlie. The big time Charlies that are coming in. You know, you have to come in here and have a work ethic. And the same work ethic that our supporters have when they go to work Monday to Friday to earn the money to come and see us. And the same work ethic where I call my chairman and he's overseas and he tells me he's been doing 16, 17 hour days. That's how he funded the football club, because he was hard.